the Good Shepherd. Everything we know or think we know in this part of our existence has been gained from a learned experience. We touched the hot stove Mom said not to touch. We now know it's hot and it hurts when we touch. We'll pay a little more attention to Mom next time she says don't do something. We know when the weather is going to do what it does, because we've experienced it. When it gets cloudy and windy, a storm is on the way. When the sun's out, it's a bright, beautiful day. When our body says it's time to eat by hunger pains, we find food for ourselves. We know what we know, because we've been there, done that. We've experienced everything we have put in our memory banks as fact, and stored it for when we need it again. For better or worse, all we know is from the experiences we have had through our personal adventures through this world. Last Friday I was at lunch with my son, and when I went to pay with my debit card, it didn't work. I knew I had more than enough money in that account to cover the bill, so later in the day, I logged on to my account online. To my amazement, all 5 of my accounts had a negative $25,000+ negative balance. This has happened once before with this certain banking institution, and it cleared up by itself in a couple days, so I didn't think too much about it. After the weekend, and now it's Tuesday with the same negative balances, I thought I would look further into it, so I called my bank. After some time going down the rabbit hole of trying to find someone who actually had the information I needed, it turns out the state where I used to live some 20 years ago had put a legal freeze on my accounts for back state taxes that they say I owe. Now the initial shock was intense. I had rent due the very next day. I have all my bills tied to one of the accounts to autopay, and what little bit of money I did have is now unavailable. After the overwhelming feeling of what now subsided some, the first thought I had was to pray. I talked with God and the feeling I got was He's got this, just leave everything alone. I wish I could report that I listened, waited patiently, and God worked it all out as we rode together off in the sunset, and everything is roses and sunshine. That's not exactly my experience so far. In the beginning I did as God said to, but as the day progressed, I thought I would look into myself. I did some research and was looking for lawyers near me, and the further I went online, the deeper I sunk in despair. I knew through my past experience with lawyers is they rarely get the results I expected and charge through the roof, so I knew I was wasting my time. Even the lawyers I did look into, one was an AI bot that led me to a pay now to talk to a real lawyer page, and the others turned out to be groups of lawyers who have not stopped calling my phone since my inquiry. Even as I write this, my phone is buzzing on silent, and I have heard texts coming through, which I can only guess is more lawyers. So now that I choose to not listen to God and try and take matters in my own hands, I now have a state of the Commonwealth, in my opinion, illegally hounding me over a past debt that is well beyond statute of limitations, and I have invited more vultures to the party trying to find a lawyer to help me. Now that I have made matters worse, I'm reverting back to plan A, and that's wait on God. I will do nothing to quote, unquote, help myself, only for the fact that I can't. When I objectively look at my situation, I see there is no other choice than to wait on God. There is nothing in my power I can do, I have no money, I don't know the laws, and I can't fight a state that makes their own laws to benefit themselves, all the while doing what they want when they want regardless of morality or ethics. And as I've said, all I've accomplished in trying to help God be God is me inviting more demons into the mix. It's now Wednesday of Holy Week, and to me this week in our history is the single most important time frame of our human existence. Jesus is winding down his mission, and is getting ready to return to his rightful place in heaven, and the work he has accomplished is all for us, and our benefit. Jesus is a man among men, and I like to honor him this week by attending church services to collectively thank him by taking communion, and fasting from Friday to Sunday to symbolically dying with him to show my allegiance and trust. This week is about Jesus and what he has accomplished by his obedience, and who he accomplished it for us. From the very onset of this ordeal, I knew this was an attack on Jesus, not me. Everything that has happened and the timing of it is all designed to steer my focus away from what's truly important, and that's honoring Jesus, especially during the most important week of our human history. Yesterday, when I first learned of the entire situation, I knew God would take care of it for me. I just needed to be patient. And even now, as I write this, I know God will take of it. It's just another lesson I need to learn, and the only way to truly learn it is to experience it. But for now, the next few days are all about honoring Jesus and all he is to us, so I will not give one thought to trying to figure out how I'm going to pay 20-year-old taxes that I may or may not owe. I will put into action all that I have went to church for to learn, and that's have faith in Jesus, when he says rely on God to help me, because of his love for me. Funny thing? I used to feel empathy for Satan, because he was once God's most beautiful angel, and he threw it all away for the sake of pride. But the more I live and experience this life, I see he's just like a whiny toddler who hasn't learned how to share yet. Satan is miserable and wants us to be miserable as well. That's why he loves it when he can persuade us to be miserable alongside him. We all will have issues like this pop up when our hands are all but tied as to how to remedy our current situations. If we are true believers in Christ, then we honestly believe him when he says in every situation we face, look to God first and foremost, and the rest will fall in place. So when things like my back tax story mysteriously pop up in your life, and trust me they will, we have two choices. We can try and fight with what we know about this world and dig ourselves deeper in a pit, or we can put what we've went to church for year after year to learn and practice and allow God to guide, protect and lead us to our problem's solution. I don't know what God has in store for me. Will God give me the $25,000 to pay off the debt? Will God provide me a way to earn the $25,000? Will God magically make it all disappear? I have no clue what God will do, but I know beyond a shadow of a doubt from my past experiences when dealing with God, is he will do something. Whatever the outcome may be, it will be finalized with justice, honesty, and truth. God knows Satan is currently attacking me and trying to cause confusion, but God also had to allow it, so if God allowed it, then it is for my benefit. I think it's funny that this happened this week of all weeks. Call it a test, call it a lesson, call it whatever you want to call it, but God allowed this to happen for me to exercise my faith. I stumbled a bit in the beginning, but I've righted my proverbial ship, and I will wait on God to guide me to its solution, whatever that solution may be. Yet for now, I will give no thought to it, and try and focus all my attention on honoring Jesus the same way he honored me. To close out these thoughts, this part of our existence is all about learning, growing and maturing. What we are growing and maturing into depends solely on how we perceive this life. Have we reached the apex of our life when we hang our lives on every word given to us by Jesus, and we live accordingly? Have we grown at all? Are we open to grow and mature? Or are we content with being our God, doing our own thing? We have two choices in this life: stay miserable and jaded as we fight battle after battle, never quite figuring out why the continuous fight, or are we learning to live with the true God as our God, learning how to live through God as our Father and us as his children just like the way it was intended? I can attest to the fact that through my own personal experiences, there is no life outside of God. Just like my tax situation, we are helpless and unable to live this life by ourselves. There are things we must learn and grow into, just as we have grown from babies to where we find ourselves now. We can't learn spiritual matters from physical beings, and the only way to learn these matters is by experiencing them. Trust God. That's it. That is the meaning of this life we are all presently experiencing. Trust God and do what He says when He says to do it. God will lead us if we only humble ourselves to be led. Stop living life outside of true life. No matter what situation you find yourself in, stay focused on God and He will lead, guide and love on you like no other is even capable of. God truly is the Good Shepherd. Be blessed.